Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. This is rare and exotic, if you believe it or not. All right, first of all, it's the very, very first Booker's I've ever reviewed with a box. And I'm very, very pleased that this is actually the batch 2023 -01E. E stands normally for export, and normally there are 700 milliliter bottles. This is not. This is 750. Whiskybase 243470. I paid €92.90 for this. I didn't want to buy it, but friends of mine said, hey, Jason, buy it, do bottle share, and we're going to be happy with this. So you have a little plexiglass, tiny little Bookers here. Here's the normal bottle. One of the best bottles to actually open up with the wax seal. Love how they're doing it. This is cheap wood, but that's okay. And what they did is they put here Bookers over here. They put Bookers over there. And on the back, they put Fred No, and you see him sitting here in his nice little rocking chair there. And at the very bottom, it says here, Booker's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whisky, distilled and bottled by James E. Beam Distilling in Claremont, Kentucky. I actually have a knot on mine. At the top, there's nothing. On the bottom, they put the little barcode there. Now, I have the feeling they did not laser this. I have the feeling they took the wood panels and just pressed a hot piece of metal into there. You do have a haptic feeling here. That's very, very well done, and so on. Why am I happy that I have this this batch? Well, because this batch in America actually had here then the name Charlie's batch. Charlie is actually Charlie Hutson, and that is the craftsman behind the signature wooden box that each bottle, or many bottles of Booker's bourbon actually comes in. Now, we over in Europe hardly ever get a box. These, I do remember seeing them with the box on auction sites, but I don't remember actually ever seeing one offered. And so this is something that's a little bit special. So Charlie is a longtime family friend and even a former employee of Booker No. And Charlie started his career working at the Booker's No distillery. He was quite the storyteller and would entertain others with his tall tales throughout the workday. He also paid close attention to the details, doing something over and over again until it was perfect, just like Booker No then with his whiskey. So after several years, Charlie left the business to open his own cabinet shop with his brother Charlie. Handcrafted the very first Booker's bourbon wooden boxes in his garage, and he's created every box for Booker's since. He and his brothers have expanded the business to create other fine wood products for different brands and projects in the Beam family, and they even supplied the furniture to the new Fred B. No distillery, where Booker's is now distilled. I think that's fabulous that they actually named this after him, and the only bottle that I've ever gotten from Booker's is the one with the box that he and his wood shop, his place, made. Now, I'm not sure if I'd like to create, I'm going to say 50,000 boxes a year. I worked as a woodworker in the U.S. for a couple of years. Repetitive tasks like that just get boring, at least for me, very, very quick. So I'm going to compare it to two different whiskeys here. I have two Bookers on the table for me. The first Booker is going to be the 2022-02. There's no E on this. It is 700 milliliters, or it says 70 CLs here. And this is the Lumberyard batch. So that's very, very nice. And I'm also going to compare it to the 2024-01E version that has no comparison in America. Every single time so far, everything that's been the E version has had an equivalent in the States. So they just make a batch with 750, keep some of it for 700, send it over to export markets like Europe. And the 2024 has no equivalent. Okay, if you can find an equivalent, tell me. It's 62.2%. You can find an equivalent, but it says 7 years, 1 month, and 12 days. I can't find anything that says 7 years, 1 month, and 12 days in the Booker series so far. So I paid 75 euros for this. I paid basically 75 euros for this. I paid 93 euros for this, but I got a box. Now, for me, as a whiskey, I'm going to call myself a connoisseur, boxes are absolutely, all right? So I don't need boxes. I don't need to pay extra for that. If you take a look at Signature Vintage, they have their nice little extra, they come in a tin, metal tin. They have we call them actually flower pots or flower vases. Beautiful, beautiful bottles. You're paying 10 euros for the bottle and for the tin. I could get my whiskey for 10 euros less. It can be even 15 in some markets. Less just by having a normal bottle. I want the normal bottle. They put the normal bottle here, but they do put a box. So is this box really worth, I'm going to say $10 for you? Now, what happens? I did a bottle share. This bottle is going to be filled up in the little bottles, sent out now in the next days, and this goes in the garbage. So that's the problem with this. And I can't recycle it. It's wood. There's plastic here. I don't need this. And I'm very, very pleased and content that almost every bottle that comes to Europe has no box. But I do know people that say, hey, Jason, it's going to be in my shelving unit for the next 5 years. It's going to be decoration. It's beautiful. I want to present it. I want to show others. I want to make them jealous, and that's great. It doesn't fit in my shelf. It's too high. It's not even normed here for Europe in any way. I try to put it in the, here it just, I mean, there's like 1.5 inches that it's too long for my shelving units. That's life. But I can put it up on a special shelf if I want. All right, good. Get enough complaining here about shelving units. I like the box. I love that I got this batch with this box due to Charlie. And that's good. Let's nose. Okay. Booker's has been, at least in my opinion, an up and down roller coaster ride. The 2021 version, bleh. The 2022 02 version, the Lumberyard batch, excellent. I would go out and buy another 6 bottles of this if I could find them. The 2024 version 01E is solid. It's a solid product. Buy it, drink it, share it with friends. If you can get the 2022 instead, go for it. But the 2024 01, absolutely okay. The 2023 01E is a little bit more of an alcohol. It's a little bit of a green, not yet roasted peanut moment. This is not my favorite Booker's ever. It's not the worst Booker's ever. The 2021 was appalling. That reached Germany at least, or Europe. All right. Now this is going to be a C plus, maybe on a good day a B minus. This is going to be today it's going to be an A minus, and this is going to be a B minus. All right. So when I complain about Booker's, I complain about it having variations, which is of course normal. But usually they're still going to beat most of the other products I have in my bourbon shelf over here. All right, just like I want it all to taste like the Lumberyard batch. That was and is so great. 2023 01E. Now, the 750 milliliter bottle confuses me. I don't know where it came from, how that happened, but that's the way it is, folks. Cheers. As I said, there's a little bit of heat. It is 63.3%. There's a little bit of that green oak peanut moment going on. There is some herbalness, some herbalness. Let's just use herbalness. There is a little bit of tobacco leaf. There's a little bit of brown sugar. It's not the sweetest. If you ever put a Booker's into a blind flight with Stag, with Elijah Craig barrel proof, with Jack Daniels single barrel proof, maybe with Noah Mills, with any other products from, let's say here, Driftless Glen, or even a a wilderness trail or a new riff or anything you can, or even a wild turkey red breed, this is going to feel darker. It's going to feel woodier. It's going to feel more of a chocolatey, nutty moment than the others. Booker's is something that I can often pick out in a blind flight very easily, which is not bad, but it has its moment, and there's slight variations. And I love the fact, even I complain, I love the fact that Booker's does this, batches. Wild Turkey Rare Breed, always the same ABV. We don't have any official batches, and yet we know they vary a lot. Well, luckily, Wild Turkey changes the design so often that you kind of know the batches due to the different types of label design. All right, the 2024 01E. Better. A little bit more of that herbal note. A little bit more of a wood. And a pine forest honey going on in there. As I said, solid B-. Go out and buy it if you can find it. If you can find this instead, buy that instead. It's 2022 02, no E, but it is a 700 milliliter bottle, as I've shown. And we have here our 62.4. So 7 years, 1 month, 7 days. So they seem to have had now basically more or less leveled out to about 7 years of age. 7 years, 1 month is something that's going on a lot with a couple days. I think there have been 1 or 2 that have been 8 years. There were 1 or 2 that was 6 months and a couple 6 years and 10, 11 months. But they try to hit that perfect moment about 7 years here. Would I prefer 8? Yes, of course. Do I need 10? Not necessarily. There's enough wood going on here as it is. All the same mash bill, all the same places in the warehouse, more or less, all the same new. This has more of a fruity moment. This has a little bit more of a berry. This has a little bit more of a brown sugar. This has a little bit more of a molasses moment, even a sassafras molasses moment going on here. Winner, chicken dinner. Happy place. First position, second position, third position. Don't be sad if you didn't get this bottle. The reviews here of Charlie's batch are not the best in the world, all right? So we've had some that have been very, very good, and we've had some that have been some Booker's batches. And a lot of people that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 8 years ago, they used to always just say, this is my standard. I'll go buy Booker's each and every year, every quarter, have drifted away. Mainly due to price for value, but some of them have said the quality of the Booker's has decreased, unfortunately. Just a tiny little bit of information about this. We have here a breakdown of the barrel storage for Booker's for the Charlie's batch. They have 7-story warehouses. They use Q, G, Z twice, and warehouse number 1. 3% came from the 5th floor of warehouse Q. 17% came from the 4th floor of warehouse G. 24% came from the 4th floor of the warehouse Z. Another 27% came from the 5th floor of warehouse Z, and 29% came from the 5th floor of warehouse 1. So, they say here the nose is balanced without too much wood and with hints of oak, toasted nuts, and vanilla. This is the aroma that Dad, Booker's know, always looked for in his Booker's. The taste is balanced with a slight warmth and a pleasant finish. This batch came out just the way Dad likes it, and I know he would be very happy that I named it for Charles. I hope you enjoy this batch of Booker's as much as I do. All right, so, and there's actually on the label in English, there's a nice little box of the Booker's laying on the side, and 63.3. And there it says, and that's interesting, 7 years, 1 month, and 8 days. Here it says 7 years, 1 month, and no days. Here it says days. I have the days here, so the 12 days, and that's making it somehow difficult to match these with in America. If you have any idea about the 2024-01, please write down in the comments. What is your favorite Booker's at the moment? And I'm going to ask, what is one of your favorite stories of Booker's? I think commemorating the maker of the boxes is a great way to do it. Now, they've had, how many have they had here? We have 4 batches a year since 2015. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 times 4. Wow, we have almost 35 different batches with 35 different names. That is always a little bit of a dilemma. For example, the 2401 in America is called the Springfield Batch. But this has no name yet. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing. What is your favorite story with Booker's? Bye-bye.